Okay. Hey, Andrew and
Hey
Daniel,
there.
how are you?
Good.
We're doing good. How are you there?
Doing just fine. Doing just fine. Thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thanks for
Now,
having us.
Glad to be
Andrew,
here.
you've been on. This is your third time. You were on twice on the podcast, yeah?
That's right. Once myself, once with Neil, our other bandmate, and now we're here with Daniel, my other bandmate.
Great. Now,
And then there's two more of us. John Perrin played with us on some original music, and then Brendan Lazar, he does some Beatle covers with us on the channel.
oh, super. Okay.
hmm
Um, Daniel, what is your role in Ably House? What do you do?
Well, Andrew and I have been playing music together for a long time, and yeah, we've been working on music for a long time. So if you look on the YouTube channel, there's currently 6 or 7 original songs, and Andrew and I have worked closely on all the original music, and I've helped out a little bit with the Beatles covers, but I played the Fire Bell on "Everybody's Got Something to Hide," except for me and
Ah,
my monkey.
He's actually in my first video as well, going back to 2012. I did like a Zelda medley, and Daniel played tambourine, I think, in that video. And then he's also been working with me all the way back to like seventh grade when we were 13, first starting our instruments. And we always were learning covers, AC/DC songs, Beatles, from a young age together. And then we started writing music and found that YouTube was a good outlet to put our original music on there, and then also to make covers for people to learn music off of for Beatles and AC/DC, other things we like. Pretty much any music we like is fair game for the channel. That's why I'm open to doing video game covers and original stuff, whatever it is. I would even want to do a Back to the Future tribute soundtrack. I think that'd be cool to have on
oh yeah.
guitars. But anything like that.
All right, so you guys were basically childhood friends, yeah, that just kind of grew up loving music together, particularly the older music of my generation, yeah?
I think so. Yeah, we find that's the most guitar-based rock and roll. So we still like newer projects, say Weezer, or what would you say?
Flaming Lips, and like Fleet Foxes are really good.
Neil was really into the Red Walls. They're a Chicago band, but he lived in Florida, and then he came to Chicago and met them. And that's like a punk kind of, or not punk, old rock and roll band sound. They have a sound back to the 60s and 70s rock and roll, but with a new sort of blend to it. And the Fratellis, a lot of that early 2000 stuff, I think was where it cuts off for us, and it starts to get only into dance music. So yeah, we pretty much like to focus on the 60s and 70s when everything was really guitar based.
Yeah, up to a point. It's funny because then there was that brief period in the late 70s where disco started to try to infiltrate. And of course, all of us avid rock and roll people were the disco sucks people holding up the big signs and at the concerts. And then disco just sort of died and reincarnated into probably electronic, I guess, for lack of a better genre, yeah?
Yeah, and we like that kind of music too. Something that is useful about that is I can do stuff in the computer that I can't do by myself with the guitar, and I like to take those like demonstration tapes and bring them to a band like Andrew, and Andrew introduced me to Neil and Brendan and John. So it's great to it electronic stuff is great for composing.
Yeah,
Oh, I
like
think
loop
so, yeah.
pedals. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's great when you can use it as a tool and mix it together. The problem I have, and maybe I'm just getting old, but the problem I have is when it's too electronic and not enough human. Then
Yeah, I
it
agree.
just kind of loses
Yeah,
its
things can.
soul.
That's right. Yeah, things can sound too robotic, and the human expression is something that's going to be really tough for those algorithms to replicate. But I think they'll get there. They're getting better and better every year. I think we'll start hearing some really good expression robotic music eventually in the next 10 years, probably. Maybe
Well,
we'll
I
like it
mean,
then.
yeah, God, it's getting to the point. I mean, with AI, who knows? Maybe computers will start writing their own music without our help.
Did you see that most famous YouTube video right now called Baby Shark?
No.
I just thought of that because like it seems like that style of music, and it has like a dance beat behind it. It's almost like a European dance song for kids. It's just a one and a four with a harmony coming in. It's almost like the more simple you make the music with a dance beat, a little bit of syncopation, do 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 do, that the more popular it's going to be. And so if you just really hone in on those repetitive or cliches, I guess, the more popular your stuff will be. And we don't really care about that. Like you might have heard the Grave song that we released, or the Ghost medley. That's very harmonically complex, and I feel like you might need a few listens to even understand the harmonies on it. And it's very like the antithesis of the pop music, where the pop is going right now, the direction that people like music.
Well, the one thing about that kind of music, I did listen to some of the music that you guys sent me. You sent me a couple of clips. And we're actually going to play a clip here, which we'll talk about in a second. But music like that is akin to movies like Jacob's Ladder, where it's very complex and you really have to watch it a couple of times to kind of get it. So I like that because it's sort of, you get a lot for your money, you know?
Yeah.
You have to go back and listen. Oh, let me listen to that guitar solo again. Oh, let me listen to this part again.
And that's what we want, too.
Yeah.
We want our music to be something you listen to many times, and that has that type of longevity to it. And I feel like if you know what's going to happen in a song, you might not want to hear it again. But if you feel like there's a lot of hidden treasures in the song, you might want to hear it multiple times and see what else there is to discover. Like, we're still discovering things in Beatles songs just from the outtakes or the isolated tracks. And then you go back and listen, like, wow, that was there all along. I just didn't notice it before.
You beat me to the punch because I was going to segue into the Beatles since you guys do Beatles videos.
Yeah.
But that's absolutely correct with the Beatles. The song, and I know we talked about this on the other interviews, but the Beatles songs to the non-musician sounds like a simple, kind of nice pop song. Gets stuck in your head. It has all the ingredients of just a really good pop song. When musicians start to dissect the Beatles, you find all kinds of stuff in there, you know? And that's why the Beatles were so great. They sort of did something for everybody, I think.
Mm-hmm. Did you have something to say about that?
Yeah, and I mean that, and they took influence from the blues. So I mean, I would say the blues is very deep as well. I've read about it's like, I don't know, just listening to it, it's kind of a state of mind as well as a type of playing.
Yeah, like from the heart. The blues is very from the heart. And I feel that the Beatles were always just kind of in the moment. A lot of if you listen to the progression, you can hear the outtakes where they did take 1 through take 20 or whatever became the final. There's a lot of progress from the first take to the last. They were very much a record until you get something cool kind of band, rather than let's work it out before we get to the studio and, you know, do it that way, have it all prepared. And it's a little bit less organic and spontaneous. And that's what gives the Beatles more of that spontaneous sound, yeah.
Well, particularly when you get all 4 of them in the room together and they're all working together on one track. Then you get ingredients from, well, the 3 basically, but then Ringo with his drums can totally add to the flavor, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And the engineering.
I was going to say George Martin.
And
Jeff
George
Emmerich.
Martin, right, all of them, yeah.
Yeah, or I feel like I was saying this recently, that some of the best songs by the Beatles are when other people were in the studio. I don't know if I'll have all the examples, but let's say Yellow Submarine was one where, you know, the Rolling Stones, I think, were there. All You Need Is Love, Baby You're a Rich Man, Hey Jude. Well, that was done. It was done separately in at the Twickenham studios with the crowd. But, you know, like those moments where there's a lot of other people that they can show off to in person, I think is when they really shine. But when it's just the 4 of them, I mean, it's still great. But it's they need to be putting on a performance for someone. It almost seemed like.
Well, I agree. And it's funny you mentioned about George Martin, because one conversation I had with another musician who was an avid Beatles fan is just try to imagine what Pepper would have sounded like without George Martin's influences. It'd have been a totally different album, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what would George Harrison's song be without that arrangement that George Martin put on it? Or Within You Without You, that is.
Yeah.
He arranged all that, and then what would it be without all those Indian musicians that had such expertise in that field? If it were just the 4 Beatles, yeah, it wouldn't have been a groundbreaking song necessarily. It's pretty drony on a C chord.
That, and then you think of like all the orchestrations that he did, even Pepper with the 4 French horns.
The iconic song, definitely.
Right. Let's see. You guys, we got to kind of move it along because this is a shorter show than the podcast.
Sure.
You've got a video that you sent. Tell us a little about the video.
Well, Grave Song we wrote originally as a song for a local artist, and they didn't use it, and we just figured that it fit in with this album that we're working on. It has a loose theme, kind of paying tribute to the Ably House, which is a haunted house from our hometown that we all have a kind of a connection to. We named our band after it.
Okay.
Yeah, and for the video, we just ended up finding out that it was. I always have trouble when I'm editing these videos. Which instrument do I show? Drums, bass, guitar. I found with a 360 video, I could just pop them all in, and people can watch whatever they want, and it gives this sort of surreal feeling that you're being surrounded by the band, and that almost fits along with the style of music we're trying to create with like drum circles and like you're in the center of a drum circle kind of thing. It's what do you call it? Like kind of surreal, I guess.
Yeah, it's Grave Song from Posey Hollow Quartet, and if you go to our YouTube channel, you can look around yourself in the 360 view. We made a 2D version for you, Doug.
Yeah, so you could it'll be easier for you to stream it, and it'll just be me clicking around, kind of showing the 3D landscape that we have. But when you're watching it on YouTube, you can click around and watch whatever instrument you want.
Okay, so this is it by Ably House? Should I
This is
introduce
the Grave
it as
Song
Ably?
by the Ably House.
There you go. Wow, well, that was funky. Geez, a lot of questions. All right. First off, while I was watching that, Zeppelin came up first, particularly with your guitar solo, Andrew. Nice green guitar. I love that.
Thank you. The Hanson.
It's a what? What kind of guitar?
Chicago company.
It's a Chicago company. They make Lakewood bass, and they started making guitars. So it was a run of only 16 guitars that they made green like that. So I'm lucky to have one of those. And then, yeah, that's a Hanson guitar. They have P90 pickups. And then you could probably find some of those in local distribution areas. I know Chicago Music Exchange has them. I don't think Guitar Center would, but maybe they can order one, because they probably carry Lakeland bass.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the Hansons are pretty rare.
I thought it was an Epiphone at first, and then I was like, no, that's not an Epiphone. So I had no idea.
Yeah.
They're originally a pickup company. They made only pickups before they made the guitars.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's why I use that guitar a lot too. Is those pickups are so hot and spicy. I can't get away from it. 'Cause
The sound was
I bought a
awesome.
Les Paul, bought an SG. I have all these other
Yeah.
guitars, but I keep going back to this Hanson.
It definitely had a Led Zeppelin, Jimmy Page sort of sound flavor, particularly when you get going on the guitar solo. The song itself, though, was sort of very reminiscent of Floyd. Sort of the slowed down, what I like to call the marijuana effect on the vocals.
Sure.
Not to suggest that anybody was doing it. I'm just saying the overall sound of the
Might be the
vocals.
heavy double track.
Yeah, the heavy
I
double
think that's
track.
all it is a double track. I don't think. Oh yeah, there was some delay that we used for the intro effect, but I think it's mostly just a double track. Maybe Neil added some delay. Neil did a lot of the mixing, so some of it I don't even know what he's doing on it. I just say, "Oh, that sounds good," or
Yeah.
not.
But
Neil's a
while
great
I
mixer.
was watching it, though, I could just envision the sort of like the blood cells being projected on a 16 millimeter screen behind you guys, and the kaleidoscope effect and all the stuff they were using back in the late 60s.
And you'll see that in the future. Yeah, we have a projector that we plan on doing that. It doesn't make sense for the 360 videos, I didn't think, because it's already pixelated enough. But yeah, for some other of these videos, we're going to have them just be the regular 2D. And yeah, the projection idea is definitely something we want to include on our channel too. It's cool.
Tell me quickly, we're kind of running out of time, but tell me quickly about the 3D, the 360. How do you do that?
I just ended up doing it in Final Cut Pro. We exported individual videos of just guitar and kind of made it look like we wanted it to. And then we dumped that into a 360 session. And that just takes place when you dump it in, it gives you 4K, 2K, and then there's a 360 option. So I was like, wow, you can actually do that on here. And we just started messing with it, and we figured out how we could stitch it all together.
Oh, all right. So you just shoot multiple camera angles and then just dump it in, and the software
Yeah, they're
does
just
the
regular
rest? Yeah.
regular Ably House videos, just mostly guitar. We shot those one full body shots because we wanted, you don't want to have the cropped off head if you could see like a full person rocking out. We figured it would be cooler to shoot full body shots, and yeah, we dumped those in there. So yeah, that's all stitched together.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We do have to wrap this up. Give out a website quick so people can come check out your Beatles videos and all your other stuff. And
On YouTube, it's Ably House. That's ABLY House, and we'll come up right there. You'll see our original music probably come up first if you just search Ably House. But if you want to learn any Beatles songs, type in Day Tripper after Ably House. We'll come up giving you an instrumental version of that or whatever song you want to learn. And then our website is www.ablyhouse.com. And that's just got some of the same stuff there. Our Patreon link if you want to donate some money to help this project going.
I highly recommend people donate money to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you to Andrew Bockelman and Daniel Martinson. Best of luck with everything you guys are doing. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks to you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks for having us again. All right, we'll see you.